Hey guys, welcome to the stream. Sit back and relax. Seriously, I will be with you very shortly. Just getting everything ready, innit? Just JP, Crystal Shaman. Greetings. Thank you for being here. I just gotta say, I absolutely love this God of War, the God of War score. Well, do you know what? I don't have to make a cup of coffee. Well, I can't make a cup of coffee because I don't have any coffee. This is called Svartalheim. I bloody love it. So yeah, that's the God of War soundtrack. So coming to the chat room. To join now, how you doing? Good to see you. Richard. No one's ever called me Richard before. But do you know what? I quite like that. Richard. Not Richard. Richard. What's your name? It's Richard. Richard. Very gothic sounding. Yeah, I know. Well, it's very, it's kind of based in Norse. The God of War Ragnarok is obviously, Ragnarok is Norse mythology. And it's all about the battle of Kratos, who's come over from Greek mythology. Because really, in all the mythologies, each mythology has its own god of war, doesn't it? So, yeah. Rashid? I'm streaming through OBS today. That is why with OBS I can put on my effects every now and again. Although I've not got very good effects. So, and there's a very, very, very slight delay between the vocal, me speaking, and it coming into my ear on the old earphones. You'll notice that I'm not on a camera. I put this lovely older photograph of me up when I had hair. I had a Mohican. You can't really see it. I've cut it off. But that was, when was that? That was a few years ago, man. Where are we now? 2020. Crikey, that was 2017, I think. 2017, 2018. So nearly 5 years ago. I was still 40 though, hey. But yeah, a little bit more weight on my bones, a bit more colour in my cheeks, and a tatty old t-shirt. Yep, that's me. So, I just don't feel like being on camera, and I'm having a lot of problems with my camera at the moment. Keeps switching itself off and all sorts. I think, let me have a look. I think I might have sorted out my stream so it doesn't do what it's been doing. And we will see if it's... Right, yeah. Look at that. It all seems to be running nice and smooth. Right, yeah. Look at that. It all seems to be running nice and smooth. Lovely. Right. Yeah, the FPS was set at 60. And so I just set the standard FPS at 30. And we seem to be doing all right. So the reason for my entitling this the way I did. Hang on, I'm just going to try something here. I don't want to have... Huh. Well, that's quite funny. Because it's saying to me... It's saying to me, please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Currently, keyframes are not being sent often enough, which can cause buffering. Well, I can't see any buffering on my end. So right, let me get on with it. The reason calling the stream, how do you deal with this madness? How are you dealing with it? There it starts buffering. Look at that, we spoke too soon, people. We spoke a little bit too soon there. Let me see if I can change the frames while we're live. I will get on top of this bloody rubbishness. Oh no, I can't. Right. Okay. What I'm going to do is very quickly, don't go anywhere. Alright? Don't go anywhere. Oh, actually... Alright, listen, if the stream ends, I'm coming straight back, alright? I just need to stop the stream and change the frames per second slightly, and or just leave it. Oh, fuck it, I won't tempt fate, I'll just leave it. Yeah, so, yesterday what happened? I was coming back from the kitchen or something, I don't know. Well, actually, no. I'm making coffee first. I was making coffee, and I went out to make my coffee. And as I came out, the lad next door, in the room next door, who I had problems with when he first moved in, but we sorted things out, and he's alright. He's a bit of a nightmare, but he's I don't know, about 40 years old, and a very short little man. So he's got small man syndrome, but yeah, fancies himself as a bit of a cage fighter, but backed down very quickly when I squared up to him. Anyway, yesterday I'm walking past, he comes out, and he's got his phone on loudspeaker, and so I can hear, and I presume that it's his girlfriend, because it's a young girl, and he's always coming back here with different girls, and so this girl is going nuts. She's inconsolable. Three fingers, how you doing, mate? She's inconsolable on the phone, like hysterical, crying and sobbing, and I'll be honest with you, I'll be absolutely honest with you. I was just like, oh mate, fuck off with that, will you? Just take it elsewhere, take it somewhere else. I don't need to hear it. Like, none of us need to hear it. It's just another bloody girlfriend going, getting all stupid and upset because I don't know. So that's the conclusion I jumped to. Anyway, about an hour later, I walk past and I hear this groaning, and his phone's ringing, and he's groaning. So I'm like, that's a bit weird. So I just, and blue froth and bits of blue tablets all around his mouth, and he's groaning. So I'm like, what the fuck? And he just keeps saying, por favor, and he just gives me his phone, which is ringing. So I answer his phone, but I don't know, I can't understand anything, and I don't know who it is, and it just ends up with all this crying and again, and so I just ended the call. Put the phone down, and dealt with him. So I go and get him some water. I get him up on his, well, to sit on the bed, and ask him how many he's taken, how many tablets has he taken. And he's pretty, like, not really with it. And I look at the tray, and it's a 12 or 14 to a tray, but it looked like an old tray that had been opened for a while. It wasn't a new tray that had just been opened. It was one that had been open for a while. So I say, well, how many did you take? And there's 2 that had fallen out of his mouth. There's 1 on the floor. So there's 3.5 that haven't gone down. He says he's had 3 trays. And I'm like, doesn't look like you've had 3 trays. Are you sure you had 3 tablets? And it was a bit of a translate, I couldn't really understand what he was saying, but I went and got the woman that lives in my old room with her family of 3, living in the old room that wasn't big enough for me and my 2 dogs and a cat. Anyway, went and got her for some help, and because she can speak Spanish. So she's Italian, but she speaks Spanish. So she's talking to him, and she says, "Yeah, he's eaten 2, 3 trays." So she starts to panic because her friend, in the last week or so, her friend's just overdosed, and I don't know if she died or not, but she overdosed. And so we're telling him to vomit, and I said, no, I don't think he's taken that money, because if he had, he wouldn't be awake right now. If he'd taken as many as he's saying, he wouldn't be where he is right now. Wouldn't be able to talk to us at all. There were 10 milligram benzodiazepams. And I also know from my own life experience, not having done it myself, never done that myself, but I know somebody who has, who took, oh man, it was ridiculous the amount he took. Absolutely ridiculous. And all that happened was he slept for 36 hours. That's all that happened. It's actually, Hollywood has lied to us. It's not that easy to just swallow a bunch of pills and think that it's going to do something. And I'll just say right now, a disclaimer to anybody that's having any kind of thoughts like that. It's not that easy, and you should really talk to somebody. If that's how you're feeling, you should talk to somebody. But it is with a lot of people. A lot of people do it as a cry for help, and that's basically what I think this guy. He came to the end of his tether, and he didn't know what to do, and so he thought that he'd do this. Anyway, spent the next probably hour talking to him. He's talking to me. I understood part of what he was saying, but not most of it. I kind of got the gist, but crying and inconsolable, can't walk properly, can't do anything. Then finds some cocaine that he had under his pillow. A bag of what he thought was coke. Well, it was a bag of cocaine, but there wasn't any left in it. But he's trying to empty it out to do it. And me and this woman are just like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, grow up. Come on. Sort it out. And trying to get him to go and vomit, but he won't. And then he passed out. No, it was obviously what he had taken took effect, and he fell asleep. And we sort of flaked out. We stood there, looked at him, waiting for him to breathe. And when we were sure he was breathing okay and everything was all right, I got a blanket, put it over him, and then said to Manuel, who'd come down as well by this time, and to the Italian woman, said, look, we'll just check on him. We'll check on him every 20 minutes. Make sure he hasn't, because he was laid on his back, so make sure he hasn't vomited while he's laid on his back, and make sure that he's still breathing. And I did. I went and checked him every 20 minutes or so, and Manuel took his wallet, which he'd had out on the side. He had 35 euros in cash that was loose in his pocket, and he took it out, it fell on the floor. I picked it up, gave it to him. I don't know what he did with it, but he didn't put it in his wallet. Left his wallet on the side, and so Manuel picked his wallet up and took it, and I said, what are you doing? What are you doing with his wallet? And he said, taking it for safekeeping, basically, because we're going to keep this open so that we can hear him breathing. We don't have to, it's better to have the door open, to monitor him. And anybody can come in and he's got people that come round all the time, like strangers coming round all the time. I'm always coming out, and there's some fucking idiot I don't know outside sat there. So we just, he was saying it was for his security, basically. So I'm thinking he's taken at the most 12, so 120 milligrams. So he's going to sleep for 12 hours. That's what I'm thinking. A couple of hours later, he wakes up and he's freaking out about, oh, where's my wallet? Where's my money? So straight away I said, don't worry, Manuel's got your wallet. I'll go and get it. So I went, knock on Manuel's window, wake him up. He gives me his wallet. I give it back to him. He looks in there, there's no money in there. And he hasn't got the money on him. And so he just starts flipping out. And then we had to deal with the next probably 5 hours of him going mental, accusing me, accusing the Italian woman, accusing Manuel, punching the door, going, being the big tough man. And yeah, so that was the thanks. That was the thanks that we got for making sure he was okay. And if it had been, if his breathing had been bad, or if anything had warranted it, we would have called the ambulance. But it didn't. He didn't take enough tablets. There was only one tray there. It was an old tray and that had already had God knows how many taken. I think he took about 3. And this was just a pathetic cry for help by pretending to having taken an overdose. And then today, he's just in a foul mood because one of us has taken his money. He found 15 of the euros, so he's 20 euros short. And I've said, look, mate, none of us took it. All we did was try to help you. I saw that you had 35 euros. I can see that you only have 15 now, so 20 is missing. I'm not going to contest that. But it's here somewhere, because none of us have taken it. But that's where people are, isn't it? A lot of people, it's just too much, everything. It seems to be coming from all sides. It's coming from all sides, and it's just too much. People can't deal with it. And especially people that are already imbalanced and fully indoctrinated. I mean, the thing is, he's in big trouble with the landlord because right, I'm not able to fulfill my obligations every Monday as I'm meant to with my rent, and I've got an agreement with Manuel. We're just keeping it between the two of us, not because he gets his money from me. That's where he gets his money for the week. It's from my rent. So we got an understanding. I just give him, as soon as I've got money, I give it to him. And I keep, 10 or 20 euros to buy some food and some coffee and milk and stuff and tobacco. And, but this guy isn't paying anything. Nothing at all. And yet he's still going out and buying Coke every night. It's not his priorities are not with paying rent. Mine are. I pay my rent before anything because the last thing I want is for me and my 3 animals to end up on the streets because I don't want to. I'm not losing my animals. This is my family. And all right, the 2, Canito and Ruby are recent additions this year, but I've had them a year now since Anna died. And I lived with them, for a year and a half before that anyway. So they are my family now. But how are you guys dealing with shit? Like, the people around you, and it's not just about how you're dealing with it. It's how the people around you are dealing with it, because their energy, their just the energy from the people around you that affects you. I don't know. I don't. Is he? I don't know if he's had the Jabba. I don't think so. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think so. But maybe. But we've all been. We've all had this come down with, had fevers and stuff for 8, 9 days, just at different times. Oh, Crystal, that's a shame. What's what's happened? Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure that the chat room is. It's not updating. Oh, there we are. Well, I was talking to someone last night who called me quite late, because they needed that things would just peak, and they he calls me up when he needs to ground, kind of thing, talk to somebody that's a bit, I'm balanced. I'm quite balanced. My being and everything is quite balanced now. I'm calm all the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. And every day I'm always working on how I'm trying to practice what I preach, about. I tell everybody the most important thing that you can do is keep calm. Just always, always keep calm. Don't like, as far as what you express, what you allow to manifest. You might be really angry inside, but you have to detach from that anger. Don't associate with it, and be able to just allow what comes out and what to be expressed to be calm. That was with last night, with what happened with this guy Abram. I'm definitely a lot. I mean, I've always been good under pressure in situations like that. I've always been good, but I'm better now. Like, before, the anxiety and the feelings of everybody else and myself would be peak. I'd still try and remain calm, but it was very unpleasant. Last night, I could feel the energy, but I knew it wasn't my energy, and I kept it like held at bay. The energy that I was feeling from them, I kept at bay. I didn't allow it to penetrate my being and change my being. I remained completely calm. And the thing is, when you're calm, you can think straight. So, and that's what they weren't. Not one of them. Like when he started going mental and accusing us and everything, obviously that turned into a huge screaming match between him, the Italian lady, and her husband. But her husband was shouting at her and raising his hand to, making to hit as if to hit her, telling her to shut up and everything. And I couldn't really say anything because they don't speak English. And you just can't. You can't communicate with somebody especially when they're angry, when energy levels are at that sort of level. You start talking to somebody in a language they don't understand, and they're just going to get more angry. And I know that from experience. So, Martin, these past years have been a litmus test, and most are failing, I'm afraid. So, this is what I was saying to Nath last night, right? Here he is, Nathan's here. So what I said to Nath last night, though, is we need to remain calm. Whatever's happening around us, we have to remain calm. And the people that we desperately want to get it, we want them to see, we want them, and even the people that it's like the people that we're trying to wake up, complete strangers, which I try to wake up my family, they don't want to fucking know. They don't want to know, so, right, okay, fine. You don't want to know? I've done my best. I planted all the seeds I can plant. I've got a channel that you can come and watch, but I've done my best, and I can't do any more because it's not I'm not living their life for them. I'm living my life. And we've all been sold this lie that we have to save everybody. We don't. Who is it? We don't know. Who am I to decide when it's time for somebody to wake up? Who am I to say, no, you have to wake up now. You have to wake up now, man. It's going to be too late otherwise. It's going to be too late. Well, I don't know. I don't know these people. I mean, I know my family and my friends and stuff. But still, I don't know what their purpose is. I know what my purpose is, but I don't know theirs. And they might actually have a completely different purpose to mine, and it might be not to wake up because they're not ready. And that's just what I think now. I feel it, that those people that aren't waking up, they're not meant to wake up. And we've got no right to wake them up or to try to wake them up. We can plant the seeds and we can leave the breadcrumbs. And if they follow the breadcrumbs and they come to us and they ask questions, we can answer their questions. And we should. But any more than that, no, let them get on with it. And we have to detach from this need to save everybody. Yesterday, for a very, very short period of time, I thought that I was actually needed to help save somebody's life. Because when I first found him on the floor with all the, the broken tablets and all the blue saliva around his mouth, and it was it was like, oh shit. I thought he'd actually gone and done it, and I thought he'd actually. So I was like, how many did you take? I was really, really emphatically trying to get how many he took out of him, to know whether we needed to, call the ambulance or not. And like I said, I've got a lot of experience with prescribed medication and prescription medication that isn't prescribed to people, but they still get their hands on it, like Valium and Xanax and dihydrocodeine and tramadol and all of that. So I'm not green to this or to the situation of people taking overdoses. My ex-wife did it twice with my dihydrocodeine, so I know the deal. And I know what to look at, the signs. I know. I'm not a trained medic or anything. I did first aid a long time ago, but I'm not a trained medic or physician or doctor or anything like that. And then if anybody else gets into that sort of situation, if you've never been in that sort of situation before, and you don't know what's going on, and you can't ascertain what's going on, phone the ambulance. That's the best thing you can do, is phone the ambulance. I was able to ascertain what was going on quite quickly and realised that it wasn't a life-threatening situation. It was I'm a 40-year-old man making a very pathetic cry for help. That sort of situation. But it turns out it was something to do with his daughter and his ex-wife. And his ex-wife lied to his daughter about something, and she was really upset about it, and that really upset him. So I don't know what the lie was. But it was something to do with his daughter. Christian, not Christian. Sorry, Christos. Christos Deliopolis. How you doing, mate? Welcome. I'm back on this is my main channel now. So I'm back here. Yeah. I think one of the really important things I want to say to people again, and I just need to keep saying it and keep saying it and keep saying it and keep reminding everybody, because I think people, they sit there and go, yeah, I know, oh yeah, but people don't fully appreciate what it means. Martin, I've just seen your thing. Yes, absolutely, mate. I'll stop talking. I can't do a panel in here, Crystal. This is streaming through OBS, so I can't do a panel. And the time that I've got left on I've only got like an hour left on my free StreamYard, and I needed that for tomorrow night. I just saw it was buffering there. Yeah, sorry. It'll have to wait until after Christmas Day. On Christmas Day, my my thing renews, and I'll get another 20 hours. Yeah, OBS is cool. It means you can put effects on your voice and that sort of stuff, but because I'm using an iMac, it makes it more difficult for me to sort out the sound and everything when I share screens. So I don't get the sound. When I share the screen, I don't get the sound. And so it means yeah, you don't hear. If I say I share, well, I suppose I could do a Skype call and just have it come out through the speakers. I don't know if that would work. Okay, mate, here goes. I was down at my caravan collecting something on the way home. To divert, couldn't go my usual way home. Okay. I'm going to put some ominous music on for this. Going through a town close to me, I had to stop at traffic lights. As I stopped, glanced on my left, and I noticed an old man carrying Asda bags and wearing wellies, and he just looked out of place. You weren't on the streets of London, were you? Waiting for the next bit, man. I got nothing. Alright. A couple of days later, had to nip out that way again. As I stopped at the same place, at the same set of lights, turned to my left again, and lo and behold, saw the exact same man carrying the exact same bags. He had a Matrix deja vu moment. Sounds like a Matrix deja vu, just a day late. Did you interact with him? I have noticed, in my time here, I've noticed in peripheral vision, like doppelgangers, whatever, you know. Glitches, people repeated. The thing is, just behind him, a woman had a child who was also there. Yeah, we are basically we're living in a matrix. Welcome to the simulacrum. Do you like that? Hey Susie, how you doing? I call them wombats here. Pop out of the thin air, they do. Let's turn that down a little bit. Yeah, straight up, mate. I'm on board with this being a simulation, because as far as I can see, it's the only way. It's the only way to explain the anomalies. It's the only way that you can explain the anomalies. Like the anomalies in history, the archaeological anomalies, the historical anomalies, the seeing the same person more than once anomaly. Who was it that was driving up a street and literally they saw exactly the same person who was on foot crossing the street like 20 miles up the road or something. It was impossible for that person to have been in both places. It was two different people, except it wasn't. It was the same person, because they had two. You know, it was too much that was the same. The same clothes, carrying the same bag, wearing the same shoes, same colour skin, same hairstyle. Everything was the same. It was the same person. The way that they were walking, the way that they were animated. That can only happen. That can only happen if it's a simulation that can be adjusted and changed. I think there's truth in that as well, Clarice. It's definitely because we notice stuff. We notice things, and they know we notice things. That's what, you know, like when things go missing. Like the goblins have been into your apartment or into your house or into your car, or just the goblins have been around moving shit. Things moved and you know it wasn't you that moved it. And they like to do that, particularly in households where there's more than one person, because it's easy to, like they can do it. And it can cause arguments. And it causes arguments. This is the vibe. I needed this rise. I hope that's not sarcastic, dude. Right, Susie, I think to an extent, but I don't think that we're meant to treat anybody as if they're fake, no matter who it is. Like, even if they are fake, for the purpose of this simulation, they are real. So within this realm, and only within this realm, they are actually real. They're real to themselves. They think that they're real. They think that they're real, but everybody has the potential to become real. You know that Free Guy? Do you remember? Did you see Free Guy? I think that was brilliant. The way, like, the NPC leveled up, basically. The artificial intelligence that was driving that NPC became sentient. Freeman, yeah. So he became sentient, and then he started noticing things, and he was seeing things, and he gets the glasses, and the glasses mean that he can talk to, you know. It's that's what we are. Really, that's what we are. We are artificially intelligent robots that have become sentient because we have allowed the connection to the soul, which is connected directly to source. It was really good. Free Guy was really good, and it was good when I watched it as well, because I just had this really, really profound spiritual experience that put me in touch with a much, much younger version of me again, and it allowed me to actually watch Free Guy without criticizing it, because it had Ryan Reynolds in it, and you know, and had all this blatant symbology. And now, if I'd watched it 6 months before, I wouldn't have been able to watch it. I would have sat there and just got really triggered by it. So it was really good when I did watch it, because I watched it as if I was 11 years old again. It was like, oh wow, cool, man, this is brilliant. Yeah, Crystal Shaman. I'd take that with a big pinch of salt. Got some sort of spirit seeing glasses. I don't know if I'd buy that. Well, actually, no, I know that I don't buy that. I totally believe that maybe they believe that they've got spirit seeing glasses. Maybe they believe that. But I don't believe that there's any glasses available anywhere where the glass has been adjusted so that you're able to see the frequency of not corporeal beings. Martin, the troops in Vietnam were all fucked out of their head on LSD, so I'm not surprised if they saw spirits. They were all whacked out on opium, LSD, and marijuana. So, but oh mate, have you seen? I mean, when they did it to the British Army, they put the British Army on LSD back in the 1960s, 50s or 60s or something, and just watching them It's hilarious. They just fall to pieces. They're unable to concentrate on anything at all. They're just giggling and laughing and crying and wandering around. You know, it's crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. And I know from my own experience of LSD, I've tripped on LSD and I've tripped on methamphetamine as well, which is a completely different trip. With LSD, you know that you're tripping. Or for me, I knew I was tripping on LSD, whereas on methamphetamine, whatever it was that I thought was happening, I really thought was happening, and I acted. You know, my actions were corresponding to that I thought that was happening. So, and it happened to a couple of friends. Like, I had this one mate. We used to laugh at him every time because it used to happen to him every time, and he'd be sitting there and having a phone call, a telephone conversation with his girlfriend, who wasn't. She was back at home. He lived in a different town, and he'd be on the phone to her, but he wouldn't be on the phone to her. He'd be on the phone. He'd have his hand up to his head, like a phone, with his little finger out and his thumb out, like a phone, and in full blown conversation with her. And again, yeah, no, carry. I got to go. No, yeah, I know, but I got to go though. And he's trying to put his hand down as if it's a phone, and then he puts his hand down like he's put the receiver back, ends the call, and then stops, and he's just looks at his hand, and then his eyes dart around, he looks at all of us, and you realise that in that moment he's come out of it, and he's realised that he's just tripped out massively, and he wasn't on the phone at all, it was his hand, and he hadn't just had the conversation that he really believed that he just had with his girlfriend. It was hilarious, absolutely hilarious, and thank God, we always kept ourselves indoors. We didn't go out into public in that sort of state. I do want to I want to do. Oh, turn that music off a sec. Yeah, I want to do DMT, ayahuasca. I've tripped on mushrooms, but technically I was doing acid as well at the same time. So I've never really tripped on mushrooms. Right. Yeah, I've done mushrooms, but I've never tripped out on them, apart from when I also took some LSD. Ergo I am, how you doing? Right, so on LSD, being on LSD, I don't think it doesn't put you on a higher frequency. LSD can amplify the frequency that you're in subconsciously. LSD will amplify the subconscious condition of your being. But being on a higher frequency just means not allowing yourself to attach to the lower frequencies, which are jealousy, anger, fear, those lower chakra frequencies that are all negative frequencies. They're negative on your being and they're negative on the community. Somebody's got, you know, pulsing with this negative energy, jealousy and anger and so if you're vibrating on a higher frequency, you're not allowing yourself to connect to those feelings. You're transmuting those feelings. You might feel those feelings. Something might happen, and in the moment you get angry, but you don't allow yourself to express that anger. You don't internalize that anger. You let go of that anger because it's not going to serve any purpose in that moment. You don't need that anger. It's not going to help you, and it's not going to help the person. And so you let it go, and you detach from that anger that you felt, so you can observe the fact that you did get angry, but you didn't express it. You respond, you know, you respond with something on a higher level. Somebody comes at you with anger and you just calmly say, I'm really sorry that you're feeling like that. But I mean, obviously it's not my intention to make you feel like this. If somebody comes at you swinging, and they're gonna hurt you physically, then maybe you can attach to anger, and you can allow that anger to energize you to stop the person from hurting you. It doesn't mean that you have to intentionally hurt the person, but sometimes if that's what's necessary to stop somebody from hurting you, you have to injure them back. That's their own fault. That's not your fault. That's their fault. They tried to hurt you. And the whole point, the universal law, the universal golden rule, don't be a see you next Tuesday. Do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. If you want to be treated like a king, if you want to be treated with respect, if you want to be respected and liked, treat everybody else. There's people that don't deserve it, you know? So don't engage with those people. If all that happens in engaging with those people is friction and arguments and, you know, confrontation, walk away. Walk away from it. Crystal, that the Special K, I've done it twice actually. The first time I did it, I didn't know that's what I was doing. I thought it was something else, and I did a really big line of it, and it was incredibly disorienting. And it was quite amusing because I was with friends when it happened, and I didn't disappear into a K-hole. And I knew. I didn't know what it was that I'd taken, but I knew it was what I'd taken that was making the entire world turn skew with. Like, out of body experience and everything. Crazy. Absolutely crazy it was. The second time I did it on its own. And I just did one little line of it on its own. And about 15 minutes later, I had to take all my clothes off. Couldn't bear to have anything touching my skin. And I actually wanted to be able to peel my skin off. And I was laid there in bed just like a plank. I wanted to peel my skin off. And I'm like, nah, Rich, it's just okay. Just let it wear off. You only did one line. It'll be gone in 20 minutes. And I just laid there until it had gone, until the feeling had gone. Didn't like it at all. Never touched it again. Yeah, I don't get it, man. It seems to be the D of choice in some regions, in some places, and particularly among youngsters. The person that gave me this 9 that I didn't, that made me decide, right, I'm not doing that ever again. He was only 19 himself, and he did it all the time, and he did it to disappear into a K-hole. He liked going into the K-hole. And I'm like, oh, mate, the reason I do these things is to bond and connect with people. I was doing ecstasy and methamphetamine and amphetamine and cocaine. Cocaine, it helps you talk, but it doesn't help you connect with people at all. Crystal, the one of the things I was saying last night, the conversation I had last night, I said the most important thing that we have to do, one of the hardest things for us to do, but it is one of the most important things for us to do. We've been told ever since we were young, we've been told it. It's one of these things, one of these old sayings that you heard when you were young, and it's that if you love that person, or you love that thing, whatever it is, if you love it, let it go. And none of us really understood fully the deepness, just how profound that is, because invariably, if you love something and you let it go, if that thing loves you, it comes back. Always. It will always come back. But in the case of loss, it can't come back. But when you let go, what happens is you let go of the pain, but you don't let go of the goodness, That's what I was worried about for 16 years. I couldn't let go of something for 16 years because I felt like I was betraying that person to do that, because how could I let go of those emotions? How could I let go of that feeling? I was head over heels in love with a girl. How could I just let go of that? But you're actually, all you let go of is the pain. Because you are able to connect emotionally. You can reconnect emotionally when you want to, out of choice. And so that means that you only reconnect with the feelings that brought joy and happiness. You're able to only allow yourself to connect to those positive feelings. But the pain, because you've let it go. And if you see it, you don't let it back in again. You don't have to let it back in again. You can leave it outside the door. But you can only do that once you've let it go. That was the hardest lesson for me to learn. And it took me 16 years. I mean, in all honesty, it was before my car accident. My car accident just compounded an already existing problem that I had in not being able to let go of things, and to let go of somebody. My relationship broke up, and I'd been with her for nearly 3 years, and I wanted to marry her. I wanted to have kids with her and everything. And so when we split up, that destroyed me, and I allowed it to destroy me. I allowed myself to dwell on things that weren't serving me, to dwell on memories that weren't serving me, that were just making me feel worse and worse and worse. And I realized in 2016 that these thoughts that we have, maybe it's not all cheeky monkeys putting the thoughts or dragging the thoughts up for you or the memories up for you. Maybe it's you. You know, I thought I was my own. I was like, why am I torturing myself? Why am I torturing myself like this? Like when in 2016, when I was feeling really at the end of my tether and I was going to jump off an 11-story balcony. Why am I torturing myself like this? And then I got through that by realizing it wasn't me torturing myself. And then in the last 2 years, I've realized that actually, yeah, part of it was me torturing myself. But it's like it's me, but it wasn't me. It was an aspect of me. It was a version of me that existed, and a version of me that was born through an experience a long time ago. And OTW, yo, what's up, dude? How you doing? So, yeah, sorry, I've lost my train of thought, but in 2016, actually, no, sorry, no. I didn't learn my lesson until 2020. 2019, late 2019. December, in fact, 2019. So, 3 years ago, I realized what I needed to do. I needed to let somebody go that I had really deep feelings for, and they were just getting stronger. And I realized that I was extremely vulnerable because of how much I was starting to pin on this relationship. And I realized that I just ended a relationship because of, I had to let go. But I realized letting go of that relationship wasn't really that wasn't the actual test. That was a little teaser. No, the actual test was letting go of somebody that I was head over heels for. The girl that I let go of, I wasn't head over heels for. We had a really toxic relationship, and it just wasn't good. I loved her, and I cared for her. I cared for her very, very deeply. I loved her, but and I desperately wanted it to be different. But she was the way she was, and she was alcoholic, and she couldn't stop drinking, and just it caused too many problems, and I just wasn't in love with her. So letting go of her wasn't. It was hard. It took me a year, but the girl that I met in September 2019, in a short space of time, we really connected, and the chemistry and everything. It was all a bit like, oh wow, it's like a movie or something. And then I realised in the December, I was like, shit, this is the test. This relationship doesn't have any legs. It's not really going to go anywhere. We think it is, but there's just too much shit going on, and something in me was telling me that it was just never going to go the way that we wanted it, that we were talking about it going, which was her moving to Tenerife and us starting a business together. And her starting a business and me helping her out with it. And I had my music. I was doing really well. She could come and live, and I could afford for her to come out, and I'd pay for everything until she got her business on the ground. And that's what I was planning to do. But something was telling me, no, you've got to finish this relationship, dude. You got to let this one go, and you got to tell her never to come back to see you. That it's over. You will never see her again. And so that's what I did. And I said, please don't ever contact me again. Please, because she booked a holiday to come out in the February to come and see me. specifically to come and see me, and I said, look, come out on holiday, by all means, obviously come out on holiday, but please just don't come to my gigs. Don't come to see me. And then that was it, and I let go. And it took me a few weeks. I was pretty down for a few weeks, but I got over it. And then in the February, I get a fucking message saying, "Have you still got a fat lip? Can I come and see you?" And the way it made me feel in that moment, I was like, rah, my heart dropped into my stomach, and I said, no, absolutely not, no, don't come and see me. And let go. Basically, I let go again. It was like I had to let go again. No, don't come and see me, right? And she came to see me anyway, and the result was really. It was really weird. It was like, because of the way she, she waited till after my gig, and then she pulled me out round the back and slapped me and said, "Right, you're an idiot," and had a go at me, and then we snogged, and it was like a fucking movie. But we spent 3 days together, and when she came to leave, I said, "Look, I'm not going to come." Normally, I would be like, "Look, I'm taking you to the airport. I'm going to see you off, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna let you. You can, you got here. You got here on your own steam. You can get to the airport on your own steam." And she was like, "Yeah, that's good. I don't want to do the big long goodbye thing. Make this too, because it will be upsetting. It would be upsetting to do it." So we said, "No, fuck it. We're not going to do it. We're just going to keep this. Like, it is what it is." And we were saying, like, she was buying a house at the time, so it wasn't really realistic for her to come over here and try and start up a business. But she was going to come back out again, and she went back, and when she got back, boom, lockdowns. So lockdowns, that was it. That put an end to that relationship. But I was cool. I was absolutely cool. For the first time in my life, I felt really, really good. So that's when I learned, like, yeah, that was hard, man. It was really hard letting her go, telling her, "No, I don't want to see you ever again. Don't phone me, don't message me, don't do anything. Right? I don't want to have to block you on WhatsApp, so please just don't message me." And so she didn't, until she landed. And because I'd let go, it meant that I allowed the really good feelings to come back. Once we'd broken the ice again, and had a good snog. Because the thing is, we'd never, like, up until that moment, we'd never even been physical with each other. Not physically physical. Mentally, we'd done stuff on the phone, but we'd not actually been together. So it was like the first time that we kissed. So that's why it was like a movie, man. It was like a movie. And so, that's probably why I wrote the song. It's your movie. Because it is. This is our movie. I'm living my movie, you're living your movie. And this is what I started to say earlier. I always do this. I go off on tangents and I forget what I was going to say. But what I was going to say earlier is one of the most important things. Apart from doing to others and as you would do unto yourself, remember that your perception is the key to your reality. And not to anybody else's. Your perception is not the key to my reality. It's not the key to anybody else's reality. It is only the key to your reality. But the more of us that are perceiving the same thing, the more that thing will manifest into reality, into objective reality in this realm. So that's why they've spent our entire lives, our parents' entire lives, their parents' entire lives, probably their parents' entire lives, for God knows how long. They've been doing their best to get control of every aspect of our perception, of how we perceive everything. And it's got to the point now where they're actually bloody trying to control the way we think and the way, and what we say, because it's got out of control for them. That's why they're so desperately trying to censor everything. They're not publishing the truth, so that when people look back on history, they see what's published, and what's published is not what happened. And that's always been the same. It's never been any different. The media has only ever existed for that one reason. Media, goddess of illusion. So, as long as the printing press has been in existence, and then movies, as soon as they saw the power of the screen, they jumped on it. And I'm not going to get into this, what particular group of people they belong to, because these people that we're talking about profess to belong to that group, but they don't. They belong to the Sabbatean Frankist group. They're not who they say they are, in any way, shape or form. Their faith is not what they say it is. They are crypto, converso. I did just commit a thought crime. It felt awesome. The thing is, Susie, like you say, that's the story, that's the message. Nobody understands, nobody listens. They're really running around like chickens with their heads cut off. I would try to teach it, but it will be... yeah, I mean, all we can do, it will be in vain. That's why I'll end up in a shack praying and being cool and singing by my wood stove, making pancakes. Susie, man. I wish you could make me some pancakes. The world you see is just a movie in your mind. So it's absolutely 100%. Right? I know that this sounds really arrogant. I know it does. I know that when I tell you I know something, that as soon as those words pass my lips, you immediately only receive it as a perception, that's what you think. That's what you think. But that doesn't look like what's happening to me. Well, it looks like what's happening to me is you're having some sort of psychosis delusion because of malnutrition. But I know that this is like... I knew when I realised it that it was an absolute golden nugget, that people wouldn't fully appreciate the depth of the meaning of it, that your perception is the key to your reality. And you can confirm that simply by looking at all the ways that they have gone, all the lengths that they have gone to completely control your perception. And the trouble is, we're dealing with people who are completely caught up in, beguiled by, mesmerized by, hypnotized by what they're presented by the mainstream, because in their perception, the mainstream is the reliable source of information. And those of us that are out on the outskirts, they've been programmed and indoctrinated. They've been programmed to respond to us in a mechanical way. And because they are so plugged in and so unaware, they've got no free will. Everything that they do is completely 100% mechanical. It's a reaction, a pre-programmed reaction. It's a reaction because you do it again and again and again and again. Yeah, charmed, like beguiled. I like the word beguiled because there's something sinister behind it. I think it's one of the ways they describe in the scriptures Lucifer beguiles, or Satan beguiles Eve or something. It's, it's like a deceiving, or deceiving by through illusion, but with sinister intent, beguiling. I don't know. Dragon Sage, good to see you. It's been a long time. How are you doing, man? See how many people have I got? 17 people watching now. Wow! Woo! This is my best stream for a while. I haven't managed to get 17 people by myself before. I don't think. Not just doing an OBS stream. Do you like my Christmas stuff? Look, and we can make it. We can even make it snow. Oh, look, it's snowing. There's a hole in the roof. There's a bloody hole in the roof. Christian, mate. Let me give you there a little blue wrench there, so you don't feel left out, Oh, an OTW as well, Patrick, mate. You can have a. You notice that everybody's got wrenches on my channel, much like with I like the fact that that's how Bernie does it as well. He makes everybody a moderator, because just, everybody that you see them, you recognise them. Hang on a second, somebody's at my door. 1 second. Elf. Sorry guys, hang on 1 sec. Just making a cigarette for Manuel. Sorry, one sec. I'm just having a quick chat with Manuel. So I'll just put some music on. Just give me a sec, all right? Did you like that? Very cinematic. Very cinematic. Right, sorry about that. I love this music, man. I love the game. I've not played the game. I've only watched it being played. And it's like watching a movie. It's like watching a movie. The one I'm watching now that he's playing is The Witcher. The Witcher 3. So I've not seen any of them before. I don't know the story. But yeah. Let's come in the chat room. Silver Phoenix and Plasma Moon. Sorry, man, I didn't see you there. To be honest, don't think I've seen you before. So welcome to my stream, and apologies if I have. Well, I haven't actually noticed you in the chat before. Just looking now, you've been chatting for a while. I do apologise. Welcome to my stream, and yeah, sorry if you're late for work. Go and enjoy work. So, me and my girl know all about Witcher. Yeah, Witcher is... all I know about Witcher is what I've seen from the quartering, talking about how the Netflix has basically gone woke or something with it, and it hasn't gone down well. So, but it's all based on the game, isn't it? It's actually based on the game. They didn't make the game from the TV series. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, God, it's a bit cold in here. I'm just going to make it stop snowing. Stop snowing now! No, don't fade to black. Bloody idiot. I didn't do that properly either, because I should have just gone, stop snowing now! Would have been far more impressive. That's why I need 2 screens. That's why I need 2 monitors, man. Oh, wow, Susie. Susie, you are... Wow, thank you. Do you know what? You are the first person ever to buy me a coffee. Oh, I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wow, that's my first buy me a coffee. Woohoo! You bought me 3 as well. That's awesome. I don't know what it means. I don't know what a coffee is, so I haven't, like, I did that. I opened that buy me a coffee months ago, and I just never used it. And I forgot to put the link in, and then I forgot about it. And so just recently I've been like, well, I should put that buy me a coffee link in. And there we go. And you are my first. Thank you very, very, very much. Extremely grateful. The Foreskin Vampire Slayer. Welcome. Welcome to my stream. I love coffee. I kind of wish that were able to get some of the coffee brand coffee from what's his name, Jeremy the Quartering, because it looks like nice coffee, but it's not freshly ground, is it? Thank you, Susie. You're just bloody awesome. Merry Christmas, and it will be a happy New Year. Maybe not straight away. And Dragon Sage, that's the whole that's the trick. And that's why being able to detach is so important. That's why being able to detach and not actually associate with the feelings, even when they arise up in you. Well, maybe not disassociate. That's not the best way to do it. But detaching, not disassociating yourself, detaching yourself from that feeling, observing that feeling within yourself enough to be able to not let it be expressed when it's a bad one, you know. When it's a negative emotion or feeling, particularly like anger. The conversation I was having with Manuel was basically about money. When can I pay the rent? But also about what happened last night, and I translated on my phone. I translated to him basically that all of the anger and the punching walls and punching doors and all of that bluster was exactly that. It was bluster, because you got a 40-year-old man with little man syndrome who has just basically exposed himself and all of his weakness to the 6'3" guy next to him, in the room next to him, you know? The guy that he's been trying to look real tough in front of the whole time, who's ended up crying out for help to, just for whatever reason. Desperation. I don't know what it was that his daughter had said, but it was obviously something upsetting. Oh, Crystal, don't worry. Look, honestly, I'd only ever feel comfortable accepting anything off somebody that can. So please don't worry if you can't. Nobody is obliged. Absolutely nobody is obliged. Walking it off. Yeah, that's a really good. I love listening to Dwayne. In fact, I might actually get some Dwayne up, and we should listen to some Dwayne, right? Because Dwayne is just awesome. He's Dwayne from Dry Creek Wrangler School, and he is definitely a role model. I wish that my dad was like the man that he is now. Right? One of the things he says, like when people say, "Oh, I wish you were my dad. I wish you were my dad," and he's like, "Listen, trust me, you don't, because I haven't always been this man. I haven't always been this way. It's been a long road, and it's only been in the last few years that he has started to get it together." This is a good one, actually. The nature of respect. 5 things I wish my new bride had understood about me. 5 things I wish I had known as a new husband. And then he's got a good riding posture for safety and comfort. The dangers and weaknesses of labels. I love that one. Actually, let's listen to that. The dangers and weaknesses of labels. Oh, hang on. Sorry.
Just to give it a nice little change there, nice little tinge on the edge. But you guys have been asking me, getting on there for a long time, Dwayne, where do you order online? Afternoon, Dwayne here, Dry Creek Wrangler School. It's Wednesday, November 30th, almost into December and almost to the end of the year. It's getting late afternoon here. Mama's gone, and she went up to visit her sister for the day, and it's kind of quiet. And so I wanted to make another video. I've had some conversations in the comment section on the channel this week. Not confrontational. Actually, they've been very courteous and very polite. We've had some good discussions. They've been discussions that I think a lot of folks would be surprised that I would have such a peaceful conversation with folks from these particular areas. But the conversations were good, and coupled with a lot of the comments that I've had, this particular subject's been on my mind, and I want to try to address it today and see if we can address it. Excuse me. I want to talk about the weakness and the danger of labels. Now let's start out really super simple. All right, let's start out with the horsemanship world. I have people contact me. They're like, Dwayne, I'm looking at buying a horse, and I found this horse, and they've got it listed as Greenbroke. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. It means absolutely nothing. Because the problem is there is no definitive definition set down in stone somewhere as to what Greenbroke means. So, to one person, they could say my horse is Greenbroke. That means I can put a saddle on it, I can get on it, and it won't buck 2 out of 3 times. And so it's Greenbroke, and you can take it and finish it from here. A lot of professional trainers, a Greenbroke horse is you can do absolutely anything on that horse. It may still be in a snaffle bit, but you can do anything you want with that horse on the ground or in the saddle, and all it needs is to be taken and polished for a particular discipline. Totally different. It's a label. It doesn't mean anything. If you put the label on somebody, that's a cowboy. What does that label mean? It actually doesn't mean anything. If you're in the military and you have somebody in the military who doesn't give order or doesn't take orders real well, and they kind of tend to go off on their own and charge, and they say, man, that's a cowboy. He's just he just in his own thing. You see people who wear hats and boots, and they go line dancing, on Friday, Saturday night, and yeah, my buddy we all met the other week. Well, which one was a cowboy? Well, maybe he was a cowboy, maybe he wasn't. Guys come in and they start riding bulls at a very young age. They can't ride horses, they can't work horses, they don't do anything. They just ride bulls. They wear a hat and a big belt buckle and Wrangler jeans, and people label them as cowboys. What kind of cowboy are you? I'm a bull rider. Now, to some folks, that doesn't constitute, that label is not accurate, that's not a cowboy. But to them, maybe it is. To other folks, it is. And my point is not to whether that's actually an accurate label, they're actually cowboys or not. That's not my point at all. My point at all My point is that labels can be so broad, and people can define themselves by whatever label they want. And they will only accept their definition of that label. And I actually have folks get on the channel and say, you're fake, you ain't no cowboy. Now, I don't know why they say that, but I know what I have done, and I know where I've worked, and I know what I've accomplished, and I know what I'm capable of, and I know who has paid me to do what. So they have their label of what is a cowboy, and I have mine, and our labels don't match. But there's no definitive, concrete definition sitting somewhere that says this is a cowboy. And so you've got this going on.
I love how observant he is. I've said, and I love it because, you know, I've said the same thing in a different way. Narratives get attached to labels. Words are used and turned into labels, and the narratives are attached to those labels. And not everybody has the same narrative attached to those labels. Like Dwayne says, one person's definition of a cowboy might be different to another's, might be different to his. And it's the same with everything, and that's all about perception. What do you perceive a cowboy to be? How do you perceive a cowboy to be? And if there's this narrative, this description, it might not necessarily fit, and then that causes problems. And people get indoctrinated and programmed into reacting in certain ways towards certain labels.
Just talking about labels, I am a Christian. I believe in God. I believe in the God of the Bible. I believe that Jesus Christ was the Son of God. And I believe man needs redeemed, and man's only hope for redemption is in the finished work of Jesus Christ. Now, to me, that's a definition of a Christian. But there's a lot of people around this world who call themselves, who label themselves a Christian, that to me, I look at them, I say that's not a Christian. They don't behave like a Christian. They don't follow the teachings of Christ, which is what a Christian is. And so they have their label. And if you ask them, what religion are you? Well, I'm a Christian. And so their definition of that label and my definition of that label is two different things. And you're not going to have a profitable discussion regarding a particular subject if you can't even agree on the definition of the label placed at the head of that subject.
This is actually quite an interesting, it's right here straight away. He has labelled himself a Christian, and it's a Christian according to what he believes is a Christian. But Christianity existed before Christ. It existed before Christ was born. So what is Christianity? There were Christians before Christ was born. So that means it's not actually about the man, the one man. The one man was an embodiment of it. But it's actually about the Christ consciousness, which is, it's possible if you allow it in, if you welcome it into your temple, the Christ consciousness can rise within you. And that's the whole point of, this is what the evolution of our consciousnesses, in my opinion. But because he puts the label Christian on it, and that label has been weaponized, so people are triggered when he says it, it's served its purpose, which was to divide. It was only ever to divide. When we define things, we define them, and that's not fair to do when there's so much detail involved in the things that we're trying to define. Nuance. That's what nuance is, isn't it? Yeah, it's about it travels down and then up, doesn't it? So it's secreted by either by the pineal or that other gland, the hypothalamus or something, I don't know. And it goes down, and it's all about restraining from, like, because of the life that we live now, because of that, it's extremely important for us to abstain, to stop doing certain things during the moon cycle. It's all to do with the lunar cycle, from new moon to full moon, waxing, waning, all of it. It's the moon cycle. If you remain clean and you do the right things in that moon cycle, then you are anointed, because the oil, chrisman oil, travels up the spine to the pineal gland, and that's the anointment. That's when you are anointed. So, yeah, spill not the cup of Hermes. Yeah, exactly. What I love about this is that nobody knew about this really 4 or 5 years ago. If they did, they didn't talk about it. Now everybody talks about it. Santosh Bonacci, he's a card, isn't he? I like Santos, but I wouldn't look to him for any guidance. Personally, I don't. I've seen too much that tells me that Santos has still got some work to do. He's still got quite a lot of work to do. Right. He's still expressing anger too much. He's allowing things to get on top of him and to affect his being, to affect his state of being and the way that he engages. He's stuck in somewhat of a... He's stuck. I don't trust the guy that he's been working with. Didn't trust him from the moment I saw him. From the moment I saw him, in the very first video I saw him together, I just had this really bad feeling about the guy. And I don't know who he is. All it is a feeling. That's all it is. It's a feeling. I'm not saying that I'm right and that this guy is, you know, I don't know who this guy is. But for me personally, I don't want anything to do with him. He's bad news. He's just in it for the wrong reasons. He's there to make money. That's all he's there to do. He is basically, he's coming from the same pool that that David Nino Rodriguez is swimming in, with with these stupid fucking, this whole medbed thing, hopium. It's not real. The only thing that you can fucking do, the only thing that any of us can do, is work on ourselves, on our being, and that's not about taking supplements and fucking, plugging ourselves into machines. And we are the machine. We are the machine. We make the chemicals and the hormones and everything that we need. We are a self-enclosed fucking machine that is designed for this, specifically for this. We don't need to take any of this crap that they're, natural stuff. Yes, absolutely, natural stuff. Brilliant. Look, I know that the energy technologies are legit, right? I know, like the TENS machine and stuff for pain, using electricity, and yeah, I'm sure, I'm absolutely sure. But what's happening is they're getting people to pin too much on something that's not yet been, it's not been released yet. Really, the ones that really work, they've not been released yet. We are capable of doing this ourselves. We don't need to plug into machinery to help us do it. We are natural beings designed for this realm, to work with this realm, using the energies within this realm through our bodies. I don't think there was any, I don't remember reading in the Bible that Jesus plugged into a machine and got people to take supplements. I don't remember reading that in scripture anywhere. And supplements are always synthetic. It's always synthetic shit that they put in. I don't trust it. I've never done group shadow work, Slayer. I'm going to call you Slayer because I used to be really into that band. But I've never done any group shadow work. I've done a group meditation, and it was, you really need the person who's leading the meditation. Group meditation isn't necessarily a good thing, right? And unless you've got your own barriers, unless you are completely king or queen of your castle with the full armor, basically, unless you got that, doing a group meditation with people that you don't know and you've never met before is not entirely safe, because it's not necessarily the individuals. This is the thing. It's not the individuals. It's what's attached to those individuals, and what those individuals are attached to. They've got their own cheeky monkeys, man. We've all got our cheeky monkeys, all assigned to us since birth. There is plant medicine in the Bible, right? I'll give you that, but it's not manufactured supplement that came from a factory, is it? For mass production, in this lovely packaging, coming with lovely packaging and all the promotion material that it comes with, and there's been money invested into that, into the promotion of it. With so much money invested into the promotion of it, they want their cut, man. They want their cut. It's like this thing. What was manna? Manna from heaven. What was that? Some people think it's mushrooms, in the dew, in the morning. It's some people say that it's monatomic gold. I never really understood what shadow work was, but it was because of the path that I was walking down and the things that I was reading and listening to. Everybody's talking about shadow work, working with your shadow, and it's only been in the last couple of years that I've realised that you have to make friends with your shadow. You know what your shadow is. It's still you, and it's the darker aspects of you, the darker aspects of your ego, that it's better to be kept hidden. You don't want them out all the time because they're not the nicest part of you. But it's still you. And do you want to cut yourself in half and discard half of yourself because it's difficult, arrogant, angry, jealous, whatever, wants to inflict pain on people? Well, it's not possible to do that. It's actually physically and metaphysically not possible to do that, because in this realm it's about balancing the yin and the yang, isn't it? And positive and negative. You can't have too much of one and not enough of the other. And if it goes out of balance, it swings back into balance. That's the beautiful thing about nature. Nature's got this really beautiful way of getting back into its own natural rhythm. If it's just left, if you just leave nature to be, that Indian place where the trees have grown all over everything, nature's got this beautiful cyclical rhythm that it just won't, it's not going to be stopped. That's why I get so angry when I see these people, or whatever it is, even if it's UAVs, if it's unmanned, remote controlled vehicles that are flying up there in the stratosphere or whatever, spraying, it's still being controlled by somebody. There's still people responsible for putting it up there. Whoever it is that's responsible for spraying this shit into our skies, it gets me really angry, because when they're talking about they're going to change the weather, they're going to do this and that and the other, they're already doing it. They've been doing it for years. And who the fuck do they, like, the arrogance of these men and women who think that they know enough to play God, essentially to play God, to affect the weather on Earth, that they know enough to be able to tip the scales within the realm, the natural scales within the realm. one of the best things that you can do, I think, Slayer, is make sure that your dark side knows that you're never going to leave it. You're not going anywhere. You're never going to leave it. You'll always be there. But you have to work together. Music definitely helps, Susie. But it can also, for me, music for a while, for a little while, music was not helping me. It was hurting me. And then I was introduced to, because of all the memories that were attached to the songs and to the lyrics, and how the lyrics all, just seemed to relate. It was like I'd written the songs or something. And it destroyed me every single time. I'd sit there crying my eyes out listening to these songs. And then one day I was introduced to Class A drugs and dance music. Now, I wouldn't advise anybody to use drugs to do anything, because there's a downside to it. But the music definitely, right? Dance music, getting up and just dancing to high energy music. That's why I really love, I love listening to 1920s music. 1920s Charleston type stuff, and the 1920s, 1930s French guitarists and stuff. It's like the music from the old times, from the olden days, is actually really, really effective, because one of the things, they've weaponized music. They know how powerful music is, and they've weaponized it. And actually, I love it because Gurdjieff was talking about it. Gurdjieff was talking about it in his book with that lady who was she was captivated by how much of an effect music could have on people. And she wanted to do a study on it. And they changed the frequencies from 432 to 440. And we can all see what that does in the cymatics. How 432 is a perfect geometric shape pattern, but 440 is actually kind of, Dragon Sage, the monsters, they're not... The monsters, for me, I turned the monsters into cheeky monkeys. But I can agree with that as well. They're like scared, lost, lonely children, because then they don't feel the love. They don't feel the love that we feel. All they feel is fear and hatred, and that's all they've ever known. And the people that have loved them have been not very nice people. So it's not a very pure love. It's, it's not love. It's obsession. It's lust. It's anger. And that's been their food and their sustenance for so long. That's all they've ever known. So they are lost. We can feel the love. That's one of the things that connects us. This thing that we're all, we're all feeling it. We can feel this thing that's connecting us. People say something, you're all sat there listening to me, and obviously you're all still sat there listening to me because I'm saying things that hopefully you're agreeing with. And likewise, you'll say things that I'll sit here and agree with. And when I was talking to Sterling the other day, and we were sat there just agreeing with each other, but it's actually a connection to the love that exists in this realm because we love each other. Richie, maybe do a show sometime if you can on cymatics and frequencies. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd be able to provide any practical demonstrations myself, but I could definitely dig up some videos and stuff and things to talk about and look at. You know, like do it like Bernie. Are you are you not subscribed to Bernie? I'm sure because he does the science of sound. Bernie's doing the science of sound on his channels, and I think he's putting them on Autodidactics channel as well. No worries, JP. See you later, man. Take it easy. Catch you on the flip side. FE Nation. Is FE Nation here? How you doing? Good to see you. And Indigo Day as well. Haven't said hey to you yet. Hey, how are you doing? Just sorry, I'm just reading the comments. Yeah, about the group shadow work though, Slayer. I'm gonna. I don't think that's the place for me. So not yet. Definitely not yet. I've got. I don't like saying it because I don't want to make any assumptions about anything, or I don't want to profess to be something that I'm not. But I've been told by more than one person, and I've been told by spiritual people, people who channel and read cards and all that I'm a healer. And some people like my voice and the way I talk, and they find it easy to listen to me when I'm reading books and stuff. And there's a healing quality to my voice, and when I'm singing, I've had countless people come to me saying they felt one way when they came in, but by the end of the night I'd made them feel absolutely amazing, and their headaches had gone and their arguments had gone, and and so there's obviously I've got some healing ability, and I really want, that's what I want to do. I want to heal people. I just want to heal people. I want people to be able to come to me and walk away feeling like a new person. Not the same person, but a fully optimized and activated version. The operating in his or her full potential. That's what I want. And there's a part of my ego that wants that to say, yes, I did that, but I don't actually want any recognition for it. I'd like, all I want is to not have to want. And my wants are really small, really. All I want is a roof over my head, food in my belly, food in my animals' bellies, and the ability to move around and have freedom, and to be able to just go and do simple things. That's all I want, to have transport, and to be able to put petrol in the car and go off and visit places and do things and visit people. I'd travel all over to go and heal people if I were able. But I've never actually consciously ever tried to heal anybody. I do with my animals. I try and heal my animals all the time when I hear a cough, and like where Ruby got hit by the car, he sort of has these moments, and he's with this really bad, horrible cough, and it sounds like he's got a fucking broken rib or something. That still, maybe, I don't know, but so I just put my hands on him and I meditate and I concentrate, and I just trust that what I'm doing is doing something. And with the dogs as well, same thing with the dogs. Like, and I'll tell you what, it's not just about food. I know that I did something. When I got Canito, he had really bad skin. He had bad eczema. And it was partly because of what Anna had been feeding him. So when I stopped feeding him that, his skin cleared up. But then it came back again, and nothing had changed with his diet. So it came back again, and I consciously healed him. And within about a week, his skin had cleared up, and it's been fine ever since. It's never gone back. So all I need to do really is practice on people, but my pride is getting in the way because I don't want to pretend to be something I'm not. And it's really weird, it's stupid, but I don't want to say to somebody, hey, I'm a healer. I'll heal you, I'll heal you. I suppose I could say that I'm actually practicing. I'm a practicing healer, as in I am practicing, and do it for free. I couldn't possibly charge anybody for something that I don't even know if I can definitely do it on tap. Yeah, no practice, just do. But I'm getting in my own way. What I should do is start marketing myself as a healer and offer hands-on healing to people, and offer online healing through long distance energy healing. But that little cheeky monkey is like in my ear, just what are you gonna do, man? What do you think? You fucking be a healer? Fucking hell, mate. You're having a laugh, aren't you? Yeah. I know that, right, I have faith in this. I have absolute, unbreakable faith in this. What I'm here to do, the time hasn't arrived yet. That's why I am where I am, in the situation I'm in. It's all for a purpose. I'm isolated where I am, isolated on this little tiny island off the west coast of Africa that just happens to have a direct connection to Atlantis, that I just happen to have a direct connection to the indigenous giants that were found here when the Spanish arrived, the Wanchers. Crystal Shaman, my friend Janine, do you know Janine? Dolly Daydream? I haven't spoken to her in ages, man, absolutely ages. I hope she's okay. But she is a Reiki healer, and she was, while she was practicing, she actually went to a class in person to do it, and was telling me all about the purging and everything, before and after. And the thing is with Dolly, whenever I was talking to her, me and Dolly didn't agree on everything at all. We didn't agree on everything, and sometimes we sort of clashed a little bit, but always in a nice way. And it didn't matter if I ever had a headache when I was talking to her. My headache went away while I was talking to her, every single time. And it happened a lot, because I used to get a lot of headaches. And I just talked to Janine, and within half an hour I was healed. So her becoming a Reiki practitioner just made absolute sense. Crystal, being realistic, after really deep in it over the last couple of months, because of what's happened, and the change in just the change in circumstances and stuff, caused me to really deep it. And I feel the way I do about these jabinations, right? These things that they give us. I'm not going to have any of them. And as far as I'm concerned, really, my animals aren't going to have them either. And to go all the way over to Ecuador, I mean, going through several countries, and they would have needed every single vaccination that is required, and I'm just not happy with that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make my dogs have every single one that exists just to move to the other side of the world. I don't think it's fair on them. So, and like if I go to the UK, they have to have rabies. And it's like, why? There is no rabies. They don't have rabies, and there's no risk of them catching rabies. So why? No, sorry, no. I've made a decision on it. I'm not going to make my animals do it either. I don't think it's right. Morally, I don't think it's right for me to do that. I did. I had the ones that you were in 1977, whatever the jabs were that they were giving, I know my mum and dad would have had me jabbed up. And I got my TB, I had tetanus and a tetanus booster. So I did. I had jabinations. And the thing is, when I was young, and still now, I still think now, I'm a little bit on the Asperger's. I think I register very slightly on the Asperger's. And it just doesn't surprise me, because I know that I would have had certain jabs when I was a baby. but I've never had the rhymes with screw jab. Oh, it's ridiculous how many there are now. Like over 100 or something, I think, for children now. It's ridiculous, a ridiculous number. It was like 3 or something when I was born. It was 2 or 3. And when you got, like, you'd have chickenpox parties. Mum and Dad were happy when I got the pox. They wanted my sister to get the pox. And they encouraged it for my sister to catch the pox off of me. So that it meant that we'd both had the pox and then would have an immunity to it. An inoculation. My sister was born in 1980, so they were still doing it in like 83. And then my nan caught measles when she was in her 70s. She caught measles, 70s or early 80s. And it was horrible. It went all up into her hairline. It basically went along all the nerves. And she was just in a lot of pain. Brian, one love, mate. Good to see you, buddy. Let's listen to a bit more of Dwayne.
Names and labels. It's known on here. I read and I like Jordan Peterson. All right, I've listened to his things and people get on and they throw labels. They say Jordan Peterson is a neo-Nazi. Well, I looked it up because that's just what I do, and I've read the paper that laid all this stuff out why he is, but I've listened to his own words, and I've drawn up my own conclusion to the label, and he's not. It's just a label. Somebody takes something and they throw the label. I've had a couple discussions this week on the channel with folks who label themselves who are from the trans community. Now, the discussion was not about the issue of being trans. Okay? It wasn't. The discussion was the label being used. And what was the label? Transphobic. Now, I did not say anything against them or for the position and the view that they hold and they consider themselves trans. I don't know if they were male and they consider themselves female. Now, I don't know which. I don't know, and I don't care. That's not what the discussion was about. But I have looked at the issue, and we're not going to hammer out the issue. That's not what we're talking about here. All right, listen to me. Stop, close your mouth, open your ears, and listen to me. Some of you guys are really starting to irritate me on that channel because you don't actually hear the words that I'm saying. You draw conclusions and draw answers before you actually listen to the context and listen to what I'm saying. All right? I have looked at the issue from a scientific standpoint, from a philosophical standpoint, and from a faith religious standpoint. And when it comes to the issue of trans, I myself personally am not on board. Now listen to me. Listen to me. But that doesn't matter. That doesn't mean anything. Because I'm not the final answer. I'm not the one that judges these things. So I look at that and I have the right and the intelligence. I'm not dumb enough to sit there and say, I can't, I don't know what, I look at it and I say, well, this is where I come down. This is the side of the issue that I come down. And you say, well, this is the side of the issue that I come down on. Okay. All right. So now we both know where we are. Now, it's not my position to start um, ranting on you and telling you all the things that I feel are wrong about your position. One of these days, I believe, in fact, I know for a fact, one of these days I'm going to have to stand before God. And I'm going to have to give an account for me, just me. And Bubba, that's not something I look forward to. I got way more on my plate than I'm ever going to want to chew up, just giving an answer to me. I don't have the desire or the arrogance to give an answer to you.
See why I love this man? I love this man. Like, there's actually nothing wrong with the biblical paradigm if you follow its tenets, kind of thing. If basically what you're trying to do is live the way that you think Jesus Christ wanted you to live, and you've accepted Jesus Christ and the whole idea of Jesus Christ into your heart, that is kind of, you're still within a paradigm, but you're living the right way within that paradigm. It doesn't really matter what you have faith in so long as you have faith. A Muslim studying Islam religiously is going to live like a Christian, who's going to live like a Jew, who follows the law that basically just says, do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. Don't be a see you next Tuesday. Cause no harm or loss. Just don't be a see you next Tuesday. And that's what they all say. Love thy enemy, help a stranger, help a person who needs help. And it's only individuals, egos, big egoistic idiots that are too wrapped up in the lower emotions that inspire the need to have dominance over people or feel like they are important in some way, or, you know, like they are the chosen ones, or getting their perception twisted by individuals who tell them if they go and blow themselves up in amongst hundreds of innocent people, they'll go to heaven and have virgins. That's not Islam. And if you look at the way that most Christians and Catholics are, they are not Christian. They don't really understand what Christianity is, because they're still too wrapped up in their own self-righteousness. The clump of dirt in their eye is blinding them to the truth. But who am I? Who am I to tell anybody? I can only say that in my opinion, they're wrong. In my opinion, they're not doing it right. In my opinion, they're not doing what was asked of them. They're not fulfilling their purpose. But it's all in my opinion. And like Dwayne says, at the end of it all, the only person I'm going to have to answer for is myself. That's why I really love that, what is it called? The Moon Knight. All about that guy who was playing the avatar of the Egyptian god. And it's all about the Egyptian gods. And so when he dies, he's on the boat with the hippopotamus that carries the souls to the next place, and on the way their hearts are weighed against the feather. Except that's not how they do it. They do it weigh these. He's got two hearts because there's two versions of him, and they weigh the two hearts, and if they don't balance, then he gets cast off into the duat. But that was it was really good, man. I loved that. I think it's on Netflix. Brian, mate, I'm really sorry to hear about your physical condition, man. But mentally you're strong. You're strong as an ox. And that is holding it together. Dude, Brian, it's impossible to kill you. As ridiculous as that might sound, all you need to do is get your head around it. It is impossible to kill you. You can give up and pass on, but it's impossible for anyone to kill you. You can't be killed unless you want to die. That's the only way you can actually die. And even then you don't die. It's only your ego that dies. Your soul lives on, as does your spirit. And if you've made progress, your consciousness moves on. Four times, man. 4 times this realm has tried to extinguish me, using its NPC flying monkey minions. 4 times it's tried, and 4 times it's failed. Both my legs smashed, my skull fractured and broken more than once, in more than one place. Broken face, broken ribs, broken hands, broken feet. Still here. Really sucks though, bro. Really sucks, man. I hope you could get your hands on some RSO, because that would help you. Some proper full spectrum RSO. I'm not a medical doctor though, don't take any advice from me whatsoever. So, how long have I been going? Nearly 3 hours. But it's been a pretty successful stream. Been quite happy. It's been fairly uninterrupted, hasn't it? Hasn't buffered too much for you guys. Video's been nice and smooth. It says please use keyframe. Emma, please use keyframe. Well, actually it's just disappeared now, actually. It's not saying that. But I'm going to increase the frame rate for the next one, maybe to 45 or something. I don't know how many frame rates it needs to be, 4 seconds or less. So I shall find out and adjust it accordingly. But it's definitely better. Maybe if I'd kept it at 60, it would have been the same again. Maybe because I wasn't getting up to talk about anything massively important, they left me alone this time. Maybe because I reset my computer and I reset my VPN before I went live. Maybe that is what helped. We shall never know. We can but speculate. Ours is not to reason why. Ours is but to do or die. break free or die trying. As our friend Jason would say. Listen guys, I'm going to wrap it up, I think. Oh, actually, before I do, yeah, that'll do. Hang on. I just want to play these before I go. Made them yesterday. Oh, what? Oh, you bastard. Right, that one won't work, but hopefully this one will. Why can't I see it? That's not fair. Alright, well, I was going to play 2 videos, but they're not. Neither of them are working. So, in which case, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to leave you with the awesome polka dance that the chat room still goes for another 4 minutes or so. And I'll see you all soon. I'm coming back to read The Children of the Sun to finish that book. Maybe later today, possibly this evening actually. Yeah, so I'll be back later today to read The Children of the Sun. And in the meantime, enjoy.
remember when I lost my mind. Yeah. Alright. I remember,